Hi, it's Nell, and this is the last in the Bromeliad series that I'm doing anyway. There are thousands of bromeliads, but the 5 that I have covered, well, the 4 I've covered and the one I am going to cover are the most commonly sold, the ones that you can find the easiest. And this one, this beautiful one, is the Vriesea splendens, or the flame flower. And what makes this one so cool, obviously, is the animal print foliage, which is really crazy, and this big, tall, long flower head. These are actually the flowers here. This is just the flower head. And the flowers don't last very long, but the flower head I have found can last up to 4 months. So like the other bromeliads, this one prefers that nice, strong, medium light also, brings out the variegation in the foliage and also helps those flowers to open up. But I found that this one can take a little bit lower light than the other ones. Not low light, but just a little bit lower light. But of course it would prefer the bright light. But just keep it out of any strong direct sunlight because like the other ones, it'll burn. Oh, there you go. You can see that beautiful foliage up close now. And this one also has the tank or the vase or the urn. It's very pronounced there. And then what you want to do is fill it about 1/4 of the way full of water. You don't want to keep it full because then it could rot out. They are very susceptible to overwatering. And you can also, maybe once every 2 to 3 months, you can wet the growing medium too, but again, just be careful not to overwater it. If you have a water that's hard, if it has a lot of minerals and salts in it, then you'll want to use either distilled or purified water to water your bromeliad. And also too, you can mist the foliage because that's how they get the moisture in nature, is it comes through their leaves and in the tank, and not necessarily through the roots, because the roots are just to anchor the plants onto other plants or onto rocks. And like all house plants, you want to water less in the winter time, in those cooler, darker months from late fall through winter. You don't want to water your plants as much. About every month or 2, you want to flush out the water in the tank also, because it could get stagnant and bacteria could build up in there, and you don't want to do that. So you want to make sure that there's nice fresh water in there. I don't fertilize my bromeliads, but if you're someone who likes to fertilize, then you would want to use a food that is formulated especially for bromeliads and air plants, or you could use something like I have here. It's a general all-purpose orchid food. It has just about the same formulation, and orchids are epiphytes too, so you feed them in about the same way. I will leave the links to fertilizers in the blog post, so you can see that. The link to the blog post will be down below, and you can mix the fertilizer up at half strength, diluted to half strength in a sprayer, and spray it on the foliage, and it would appreciate it that way. And you can also put a little bit on the growing medium also, maybe once or twice a year. Just be careful with the fertilizers. Don't do it too often, and don't fertilize in the winter. You want to fertilize in either spring and or summer. Now, in terms of the growing medium, bromeliads need something that just drain really well, because in nature they grow on other plants and the water just washes right off of them. So you would want to use something like an orchid bark, small, medium, or large, doesn't matter. You could use Cymbidium orchid mix, or I have used a mix of half orchid bark and half coco coir. And coco coir is a more environmentally sound substitute for peat moss. This one just happens to be planted in sphagnum moss. That's how it came from the grower. That's an alternative too. I prefer the orchid bark when potting these up. Now, in terms of propagation and repotting, like all the other bromeliads, these do pup, which is a baby. After the flower head has died out, the mother plant will start to die out. Don't worry, that's not your fault. It's just the natural cycle that a bromeliad goes through, and then you'll see a pup or pups produced off of the mother plant. Now, you can either leave them attached to the plant and gradually cut away the plant, or you can remove the pups from the mother plant. I am going to do a video sometime soon about removing pups to show how to remove pups off of a bromeliad in case you're interested in that. But that kind of brings us into repotting. That's about the only repotting that really needs to be done, because as houseplants, bromeliads generally don't get too huge and they don't have a really extensive root system. Now, in terms of temperature and humidity, the temperature, as I say, if your home is comfortable to you, it's going to be comfortable to your plant. But this one is like the Goosemania. It is susceptible to brown tips. You can see this one has been cut. I'm not sure if it got cut at the garden center I bought it at, or I don't think the grower did this because they grow them in greenhouses. So it probably got cut where I bought it, which is a look I'm not crazy about. But if your home, see there's a little dry tips starting on this new growth here. But if your home is really dry, you will want to mist it maybe a couple times a week, and that'll at least help it a little bit. Now, in terms of being safe for pets, the flame flower, I just like to say that, flame flower, is well, like the other bromeliads and air plants, it is considered to be non-toxic to cats and dogs, which is good news. But these nice crunchy leaves are something that some kitties like to chew on. So you just have to be careful, because if your kitty chews on leaves of plants, it could make them a little sick, but it will not poison them. So the Vriesea, or the flame flower, is a really easy and very attractive houseplant. Even after the flower stalk is gone, I love the foliage. I think it's kind of wild and crazy. So if you're new to the world of bromeliads, you should give it a try. So be sure and check all the other videos on all the other bromeliads if you're interested in them. I will leave the links in the description box below. There'll also be the link to the blog post, because I've just sort of skimmed over the points here. I put more details in the blog post so you can refer to that. So thanks for watching, and thanks for all your likes and your comments and your subscribes. I appreciate them. I have a lot more videos coming your way. As I say, so many videos, so little time. Anyway, let's get out in our gardens, our outdoor gardens, or our indoor gardens, and make our worlds a more beautiful place. I will catch you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.